Hey everybody, what's going on? Brian here, but you probably know me as Poppin' Joker. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's really been going on in my life this past year, pretty much, and I want to just let you in on some of the things that I've been feeling and things that I've been wanting to talk about for a really long time, but I haven't been able to. Just right now in the process of making this video, my stomach is killing me just because I know what I'm about to say is going public, and this video may never get seen by more than 50 people. But this video could be seen by the entire world, and that's one of the things I don't realize. So whoever you are watching, whether it be a subscriber from forever ago or somebody halfway around the world trying to figure out my story, then hi. I hope you learned something. It all started towards the beginning of the year. And, you know, now that I just recently turned 16, I think this is the perfect time to do it. In every family, things happen. And for some families, it may be like one of the kids ate a cookie that they weren't supposed to. Or in another, it may be that some kid broke something of their parents. My family's a little bit different. Now, I just want to say now, because I know some of my family's going to be watching this, they are a great family. I'm very fortunate to be in the family I am. I know so many people have it much worse than I do. And I can't even begin to complain about my life after hearing what they have going through to them. But this isn't me comparing my life to others. This is my story. Now, my parents are good people, and I just want you to know that before I start talking bad about them. They're good people, and, you know, they've lived their whole lives up to this day raising 3 kids. And, you know, we've always had food, a place to live. It's always been great. They've given us everything we need. My mom and dad used to drink a lot, almost every night, to the point where, you know, you couldn't be around them because they just weren't themselves anymore. And whenever your parents, the people that you literally grow up seeing as your idols, aren't who they normally are, it's really scary because you're in this unknown environment. Because, you know, your parents aren't who they normally are. Now, luckily, and this is a huge luckily, I've had my sister, and she acted as a sister, but also partially as a mother, and I've had problems with my family growing up, especially because of the drinking, but, you know, that's something that I've hid and that I don't want to hide anymore, because, you know, looking back at it, I guess it's just something that, you know, you have to go through in life. You can't decide whether or not your parents do something. But like I said, I'm sure multiple people have it way worse. People who, you know, who don't even have parents. All I'm saying is everybody's story is different. And like I said, I'm not comparing mine to anybody's. I'm just telling my own. It started out in January, my school year last year. It was going okay. I had somebody I was talking to, but ultimately, she wasn't who she said she was. And that led to me being pretty upset and clueless as to who I was talking to for multiple days for a year and a half every day. This led to it being on my mind literally all of the time. Anytime I would meet someone new, I would think of the characteristics that the person that I just met had in common with the person that I had been catfished by. It really sucked because, you know, seeing this person that you used to really care for leave you and then not know anything about who they actually are, and trying to see them in other people ruins relationships with the people that you're meeting. Now, this person that I had been catfished by was very suicidal and was very depressed 24/7, and I never shared any of my feelings with them because who knew if they would care. But they tried to share their feelings with me, which I now feel like they weren't real. I don't know. But I always dealt with my emotions and their emotions at the same time, and I never realized how many emotions I had until it toppled over, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't stand to just think, because if I was silent, then all I would do is think, and I would think about so much that my brain couldn't handle it. Anyways, this whole person being suicidal and depression ridden made me start to feel suicidal and depression. School lets out. It's June. Everything's going great. My mom and dad go on vacation and I go to my grandma's house. I spend the week with my grandma. pretty much one of the best weeks of my life. It was the first time I drove my grandma to go eat. It was the first time I paid for my own meal with my grandma. It was great. And it's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. But that Sunday, my parents got back home. My mom was very mad at me. I got inside and she had everything in my room cleaned out. All of my things were gone. And it was like a different room. And as you can see, my room is so decorated. I've put my soul into this room after years of it just being blank. I finally have a room that I really like and something that I can come home to and smile. But after being away from home for a week and getting back home and seeing my room this way, it made me very upset. And on top of all this, I was still dealing with the whole catfish thing, and on top of that I was dealing with school stuff and all of that, so I felt helpless. I was sobbing, I was in tears, and I couldn't stop it. And my mom's just sitting over here watching me cry, knowing that I really am hurt. And you can call me a sensitive baby all you want. I am sensitive, but it was just a little too far for me. I knew I couldn't do anything about it, so I just went outside and laid down in the yard for a good 10 minutes, just thinking about why, what, like, when will everything go back to normal? When will things be okay again? And I'm super interested in computers, and it's something I had been doing and building computers, and I wasn't going to have anything to do with computers for the entire summer. And that made me just feel hopeless. Like, most of the things I do are online. I talk to my friends online, I make YouTube videos online, and I stream online, and it's such a big portion of my life that knowing the whole summer going without a computer, or a phone for that matter, and having my phone completely taken, I knew it was going to be hard, and I almost didn't want to have to go through that. All of the thoughts going through my head, really, I just couldn't stand it. I went inside and I got a knife, and I was planning to kill myself. I was done. I thought to myself, Brian, is it worth it to deal with this summer? No computers, no nothing, have no friends, no way to contact anybody you love for these 3 months, then go back to normal. I was like, yeah, sure, I can do this. But then I was thinking, what if after this summer, this happens again? And again, until I'm 18 years old, until I'm moved out. What if my parents do this again? I just couldn't handle that. And I didn't want to have to face that. I didn't want to have to deal with my parents doing this. And it's really not that big of a deal. But it really is to me, because this is my space. This is something that I've created and something that I'm deeply invested in. And I decided to myself, I didn't want to wait those 3 years to be 18. I just wanted life to be over with, because all of the catfish things and all of school and my parents, everything bundled on top of each other just made the bucket overflow. That's a phrase my sister says. Whenever the bucket's full, it's full, right? Think of the bucket as your emotion storage, and think of the water in the bucket as your emotions. As soon as you add one drop of water to that bucket, it's going to overflow. And at this point, my bucket had already been overflowing. So I was beyond lost, and I did not know where to go. I gave my YouTube password to a good friend of mine, so my legacy could live on through YouTube. I've been doing this for 3 years, and I didn't want it to just die. I have such a huge online persona that it really only made sense to let my YouTube live on. And with that, I recorded a goodbye video. And I wish nothing more than to watch it, because I don't even know what I said. I just kept apologizing, and I kept explaining what I was doing, why I was doing it, and I was sobbing the entire time. I couldn't pull it together. I knew that this family that I had created on YouTube was closer to me than my parents were, and almost any friend that I had. So instead of telling anybody that I knew in real life or that I cared about, I told my YouTube subscribers, because they meant so much to me. At this point, I went over a fence. I walked through a horse pasture, about a mile. Before I had hopped that fence, I called my sister, because she had been there for me. And even though she wasn't a great sister growing up, she had told me that if I had ever felt this way, to let her know, because she's been in rough spots too, and she's felt the same way. She was busy, so I brushed it off and said, okay, I'm gonna do this anyways. I hop the fence, I keep walking, and I get a call from my sister. I answer the phone, and she's asking where I am. And at this point, I'm crying. I don't know what's about to happen. It's almost dark. In the middle of nowhere. I have no idea where I even am. She knows what I'm about to do. And I just instantly start to realize that she really loves me. And that everything that I'm doing is going to affect them. And it's not like I didn't know that. It's just that in the moment, it seemed like a really good idea. And I thought it was. But apparently it's not. The story ends where my mom, dad, and sister come looking for me. They find out where I am because a horse tries to eat me. Long story. I end up getting back over the fence to my parents, and we just hugged for a good 2 minutes. Everybody crying, understanding what was gonna happen, what almost happened, my life almost ending. And looking back at it now, it's just like, I would have been 15 for the rest of my life. And I couldn't have controlled that. I wouldn't have had my 16th birthday. I wouldn't have had what I do now. And that's just so surreal looking back at it. Knowing, hey, this would have been it. This would have been the end. After this, I went to a mental hospital for a week. Learned a few skills that is pretty much just common sense. And so many people cared, and I was so worried because, you know, my information was out there. You know, I wasn't planning on having to worry about it, you know, because I wouldn't have been alive. I got back home, and I really just realized how much of my family cared. And it's to a certain extent, because, you know, only so much can change. And, you know, not much did. You know, at first it was only negative change, like, you still get no computer for the rest of the summer, and, you know, you're still gonna have almost nothing in your room, and hey, you're gonna have to go to bed at a bedtime, you're gonna have to leave your door open when you sleep. It was hard, and it's something I had to adapt to, but eventually I started getting my computer back, and I think the first day I got my computer back, I did a live stream, because I had missed everybody so much. Now at this point I had to change all my passwords because everything was leaked and it was a mess. Someone had spent money on my card. It was really bad, and it was something that, like I said, I wouldn't have had to deal with if I had done what I was going to. Time goes by and here I am now. In a film program at school, right here making computers. I've sold my most recent computer for almost $2,000. Something that not most people can say. It's something that I've earned and no one's given me. It all started with my cousin and me building a $300 computer to me upgrading, selling to this $2,700 computer I'm at now. And it's something that I'm really invested in and something that I'm very passionate about. I'm now 16. I now have a girlfriend. This is one of the best moments of my life in a long time. I'll have my license in a few months. I'll be able to go wherever I want. I'll be graduating next year. And that all could have ended in a matter of seconds. Moral of the story is, you may be at low points in your life sometimes, and it feels hopeless. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you the same thing everybody does and say it'll get better. Sure, it will. And I knew it would. I just didn't want to wait. But sometimes waiting is all it takes. Is it really worth it to take your life whenever you are capable of changing the world? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for these multiple years on YouTube. It's something that I could never have even wished for my channel to blow up like this. You know, I have all of you people out there who care about me, even though you're complete strangers from different parts of the world. And I care about you. In parts of my life, it's been so hard to move on, and so hard to just keep living, but I knew at some points that you guys were there. And I had kept living for you. Anyways, thank you for watching. All I can ask from you is to share this video with somebody. I don't care who. Just somebody. Maybe somebody who won't even look at the message. Maybe somebody who will and share it to other people. Thank you so much for watching. And until the next video, make sure all of you cool penguins keep it poppin'.